over again or no? We're live, right? We're live. All right. So we are at Wellness Workshop. We're on, what is this, February 10th. Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me with my own voice. Yes. We need to check in and let everybody know that you're here. Because what are we doing? We're doing a WellWorks Rewards Club. Does everybody know how this works? Oh, no? Yes. Well, then I'll explain to you. Starting February, we will have WellWorks punch cards. Who's got a punch card on them? You got a punch card? Oh, yeah? Hold up that WellWorks punch card. Oh, look at that thing. How many punches you got on that already?
2.
You've got 2. How many you got? 3? Who's got more? Anybody got more than 3? Oh, you had 4. Anybody else? Wow, you got 4. 4, 3, 2. Wow, okay. Oh, I'm so proud of you guys. You're great. Okay. You get a punch card. You get up to 4 stamps on your punch card at each event. What do you got to do? You got to come here. Sorry, folks. And hey, all these people braved the rain. We're getting flooded. Okay, this is a cataclysmic Noah's Ark flood here in Cleveland. People are still here. They don't. Come on in, darling. Have a seat back here. Oh, and let's make sure we got folders going to everybody who's new. Anybody who's new? You get a punch for coming to the WellWorks event. You get another stamp, I should say. We call it a punch card, but it's really stamps. Bringing new guests with you to the event. Because how many of you know it's great for y'all to show up, but unless you bring somebody with you, you know, it's just, you got to tell people. Check in on Facebook when you arrive, which you all should be doing right now. Right, Jennifer? Right, Renee? Yes? Everybody should be checking in on Facebook. Nothing like force in their hand. Yeah, you are doing that, right? Then you share the live stream on Facebook during the event. So there's 4 ways that you can get punches on your punch card every time you come here. So within 2.5 classes, within 2.5 events, you can spin, guess what? Camera people, let's go over here. Look what I have here. Look at all the groovy, are we on camera? We are? Oh, okay. Look at all the groovy things over here. Divine Design t-shirt. We got a diffuser. We've got radiation blockers. We've got a 6-pack of infrared saunas. Healthiest 6-pack you've ever had in your life. AquaTrue unit. How many of you know what that is? It's like a $400 or $500 water filter. Yeah, some of these prizes are pretty sweet, and the other ones are super cool. Bottles of Ningxia, some cold gear, some book package. How many of you know a book package is nice? It is 2020, but there are people who still read books, I found. And then EMF neutralizers, Core 4 supplements. How many of you in this room are on Core 4 supplements? Hands go up across the room. And then a package of ionic foot spas. That would be by far the healthiest item. This is free, but if it ended up on your credit card receipt, this would be the healthiest thing you ever saw on your credit card receipt. Wouldn't it be? Another diffuser, radiation blocker. So there's some good stuff on here. There's some packages there that are priced pretty substantially. And then you come up here and go, of course you'd spend it harder than that, but you get the thing. It's better than Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Okay? Yes. Give a round of applause. Wheel of supplements. All right, so that being said, that is the WellWorks Rewards program that started last week. Next week, Biblical First Aid, 2 weeks out. Biblical First Aid, essential oils. There is a reason why everyone's using essential oils. One reason is because, well, nothing, from the pharmaceutical side of things is working, and essential oils are God's medicine. That's herbal plants, which is part of a lot of things that we use here. If you were here a week ago when we talked about whole food supplements, and we had a class called What's in Those Supplements, the questions we hear most frequently, and then toward the end we did the most frequent objections, and I got a lot of feedback on, hey, thanks for all the stuff you said about husbands. I got a lot of good feedback on that. So husbands, if you're out there, you should be listening specifically to that class from 2 weeks ago. If you listened to that class a couple weeks ago, like I was saying, you'll understand the supplements we use here. Whole food supplements made of plants and animals, the only 2 things that you're supposed to eat. And you'll also understand that there's homeopathic liquids, we use stem cells, we use drainage remedies, we use all kinds of things for supplements. And that is a part of, getting into what we're doing tonight, the reason why we use supplements is because we're rebuilding organs, okay? And I was going somewhere with that, Core 4. Everybody in this room that's on Core 4, a multivitamin, a multimineral, a fish oil, and a vitamin D supplement. Those are the 4 things. You could argue that there'd be 5, like a probiotic or something like that, that a lot of nutrition people or a lot of people who are into the realm of what we're doing, that they would use 5 things. But we found that with a lot of supplements, a lot of the digestive enzymes and things that we're using, there are probiotics in with the digestive enzymes, a lot of the digestive enzymes that we're using, so we can knock that one off the list. Point being this, that you have been told, how can I say this? Yeah. You've been told a lot of things that we're going to go through tonight that are very, I'm just going to say it, it's contradictory. Everything you're hearing tonight is contradictory. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I had a talk with a patient earlier today, and they said, well, this doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense. And I said, well, here, let's stop right there, because everything I'm going to tell you will make sense, just not to the current paradigm that you've been raised in. Everything I'm going to tell you will make more sense than anything you've ever heard, because it's going to make sense here, it's going to make sense here, and more importantly, it's going to make sense here, right in your knower. You're going to feel it in your knower, because you're going to say, that is absolutely the antithesis of everything I've heard, yet it still makes sense. This is going to be the same thing, okay? This is going to be contradictory. It's going to be conflicting with information that you have, but you're going to learn a lot. Are you all ready?
Yes.
Okay, and maybe I'll get back to that rabbit trail I was on a minute ago, because I still didn't track all that down, but I had a distraction going on up here. So today, a little announcement. Today is the beginning. Today, 6 years ago today is when I started this practice. And it was we forgot to do the video. We got to do that tomorrow. 6 years ago today, I was sitting in an office all by myself, looking at my phone, waiting for it to ring. And look what God's done. Look at this. There was an office over on 25th and Peerless, about a mile and a half from here. And this is the second office. This is a big office. This office is about 8 times the size of the other one. And we are rocking and rolling. And we are on the top of the hill of the main drag in Cleveland here. And we are very blessed. So I just wanted to say, I owe nothing to everything here is to God, and He gets all the credit, because He put me here. He established people that I knew here, that He established my mentors, my people, what I did in school, what I learned, and everything that brought me to a point where you guys will be very soon after a class like this, where you just go, yeah, nothing's real. And I had a talk with somebody today that we'll get into here in a minute that will help spell all this out. So I wanted to say, today is 6 years. We're going on our 7th year starting tomorrow. And we've been word of mouth since day one. We've never advertised, except, I will say this, we never advertised except for a couple of small advertisements in Good News Christian Magazine, which panned out to very little. But I tried that for a little while just to get my name out there. So I will say we advertised a little bit. But we do not advertise currently, and we haven't in years. So that being said, with no sign, no advertising, and all word of mouth, how many of you think that there's something good going on here? Because you are only here because of somebody telling you something about us. Unless you're the very, very, very few that saw us or heard us or for the first time on Google or Facebook. And then you have to go through a different channel to get in here. But everybody has to get in here through one of these classes. Everybody. So you're here because somebody told you to be here. Your responsibility as a human on earth, knowing that the results that people are getting here, your responsibility should be telling other people. Does that make sense? So get them here. So we will have a celebration. I figured, and the girls had this idea. It's not my idea. They said, let's celebrate every month of the year. And I said, all right. They do birthday weeks, I guess, is how you guys? Some people do, yeah. Birthday weeks. So we're going to do a celebration each month. I'm going to leave that up to Michaela and Andrea and Nadia and Diamond, and you guys will all coordinate that, yes? And you guys all got food in the lobby. Stay after this and get more food in the lobby, and just tell people we're here. That's all the point of that is. Today we're going to talk about a few things. Heart. We heart you. Yes. We chose that. It means we love you. That's why we're here. Yes, this is a ministry. Yes, it's a business. Yes, it's a business tree. So we heart you. What does that mean? We're going to talk about heart health. We're going to talk about heart disease. How many of you know it's a leading cause of death in the United States? Your main organ that you cannot live without, I should say, is more diseased in this nation. There are more heart diseases. There are more problems with hearts. There are more imaging tests for hearts. And yet we have the sickest nation on the earth with all the drugs and injectants and surgeries and procedures, and yet we still cannot figure out the heart. I'm going to tell you some things tonight about the heart that will blow your mind, that your cardiologists don't know, and it's only through God hooking us up and us being able to learn the stuff that we know, okay? Because there's a network of people out there that we travel with, other doctors, other natural health practitioners, some people who aren't even doctors, some people that are in my network, our network, that are truth seekers, and they figured some of this stuff out, and we present it, and we go, huh, look at this, it's changing people's lives. So we're going to talk about heart. What are the other things, though, that people equate to heart health? What are the big things? When you think of your relatives, your neighbors, your friends, your family.
Cholesterol.
What are the, yep, what's another one? That was number one. Say what?
Blood pressure.
There you go. Everybody knows. First two guesses, and you were right. What else? Anything else? When you think about heart health, what are you pressured into? What are you, what are you hammered over the head with heart health? What do you hear all the time? How many of you know somebody that says, oh, I have? How many of you? Dozens. Lift your hands. Everybody knows. Or I have the doctors. I went to the doctor and he found, what'd you call me? A murmur. Or I went to the doctor, I've got palpitations. Or I've got, what's another word for palpitations? Huh? Oh, supraventricular tachycardia. Say what? PVCs, yeah. I mean, all the names that go on. I've got PVC, or I've got a murmur, or I've got a heart valve, my heart valve's leaking, or I've got this, or I've got that. First of all, is that real? Some of it, yes. Some of it, no. Can it all be changed? Absolutely. How do I know? We'll get to that. Nothing like a little cliffhanger there. These are the big ones, though. When you're talking about heart health, these two right here, the first two you guys mentioned, I could go on and list AFib and all the other stuff, SVTs and all that crap. We won't get into that. February's Heart Month. It's also Valentine's. I was going to talk about that a little bit, but let's just get right into the meat and potatoes because we're running a little bit behind. We'll try to be out of here right after 7 o'clock. Today's observations. These are observations from today. Just to show you kind of the gamut of things that happen on a daily basis. Okay, and this isn't out of frustration. This is out of revelation. This is out of revealing things to you. This is a day in the life here in Divine Design. Today, a recent community pillar at a local church here that I know quite well, at church today. Well, this was last week, but I wanted to mention it today. Community pillar, been there for a long time, died of a heart attack. He was probably maybe late 40s, early 50s. Number two, today's observations. Today, okay, that was from last week, but this is today. Patient with a coworker who recently had a stent put in. The clot broke loose and created another stroke. It's a week in the hospital. It's over 70 years old. And when you're 70 years old and it's a week in the hospital because you threw a clot after a stent was put in, how many of you know you might be in the bottom of the 9th inning, if you get my drift, right? That's one person. Today's observation. Another person who came by the office today, not a patient, pulled out the phone, showed us a picture of his girlfriend's MRI from a stroke. And I took one look at it and said, wow, how old is your girlfriend? Anybody want to guess the age? Somebody give me a number.
29.
29. I see what you did there. You got it too. You saw that. Somebody said what?
38.
38. She was 34 years old. Blew a clot through the right part of her brain, and there, of course, there's a certain protocol that goes with that. We won't get into that right now. But I just talked to him about how our specialty is prehabilitation. Our specialty is, let's cut this thing off at the pass. Let's nip it in the bud before it happens. Why don't we get ahead 20 years instead of you coming in here when you've had something for 20 years and you've been through the ringer and you've had your organs removed and you've been on poisons for those 20 years. And now we have to undo 20 years of bad stuff, 20 years of neglect, 20 years of misinformation. I got an idea for you that will save you a buttload of money. How about you get in here 20 years ahead of time? How about we turn this ship around? It's going to take you a year or two to turn the ship around to begin with, because we've all had bad information. 7 years from today, your entire body will be brand new. Every cell, every neuron, everything will be brand new. Around about 7 years. Everybody's doing math. Good grief, they're counting out the months. So our specialty is prehab, but so many people, their concern is what? Not prehab. What's the opposite of prehab? Rehab. So many people are concerned, especially the guys. Yeah, I'm talking to you husbands. So especially the guys say, well, I'm fine. Leading to the next observation for today. we've recently been doing, for a little while ago, we did a little promotion, and we've opened up the floodgates. We've said, hey, get in here, tell your friends, tell your families. Give them this, hand them out, get them in here. We'll give them a tour. We'll give them, a consultation. It's a package deal. Ionic detox. Show them the whole place. Show them what they don't know about medicine. We'll show them everything we do here. We'll show them how safe, effective, natural, and affordable it is. And so the funny thing is, since this was something that brought people in from current patients, when most of them come in, the paperwork they fill out, or the thing that they tell us on the phone, is they have no health concerns. It's just very interesting. And I'm not meaning this to make fun. I'm not making fun of anybody, and this is not any particular person. But they have no health concerns. But then they come in, they fill out the paperwork that we have them fill out. And we have a listing there of how many drugs, what medications are you on, what supplements are you on, what are your symptoms that you'd like to change. Here's a big list of things that we have them fill out, like certain symptoms. So even if they just come in with we get it, neck pain, back pain, headache, they think that's all people can fix. But then they fill out the insomnia and the constipation and the fatigue and the tiredness and the itching feet and the night sweats and the stuff like that. And you have a list of symptoms there. But I look at it and I go, well, I thought we had no health concerns. Well, here's the deal. I finally figured it out. We've been wondering about it. Come on in, brother. We've been wondering about it for a while. So why are all these people saying they have no health concerns, but they're on a laundry list of medications, they're sick, they have, they're missing organs, and they've got a ton of problems, but they think they have no health concerns. Here's the deal, and then we'll break for a commercial break. Here's the deal. I finally figured it out. They have no health concerns, I discovered, because they have great insurance. It finally hit me. Come on in. It finally hit me. And I finally talked to him, and I said, I finally realized that. And I said, well, no, you're very sick because you have great insurance.
Yeah.
I don't mean that snarky. I mean that truthfully. I'm not trying to be a smart acre. I'm saying the sickest people, and I thought back on it, the sickest people that I have ever had in my 7 years had the best insurance. So that's a little observation from today. Last observation, here we go. Multiple parents of patients, or multiple parents of patients. We have patients, and so many patients say, what can you do for my mom or dad? And my first question is, will they listen? And their next response is, well, okay, then you answered that question. Well, my dad won't do anything natural, or my dad won't change his diet, he won't take supplements. How many medications is he on? 12. Oh, but he won't take supplements. Interesting. You see the dichotomy there? You see the paradigm shift? You see this? And then they often would rather have 6 specialists that they go to instead of one doctor, one healer. See? All the time. Well, I don't have time for natural health. Well, you got time to go wait in line at CVS and Walgreens and Rite Aid. You got time to go get your blood tested 5 times. You've got time to go get MRIs and CAT scans. You've got time to go to 6 specialists. See? Those are observations from one day. One day. What does that tell you about the medical system versus what we're doing? They're very busy. So what are we doing? Sometimes we're preventing the decay. Other times we're cleaning up the debris. A lot of times, if you don't get ahead of the 20 years, you'll be cleaning up the debris. What do we want to do? We want to get ahead of it before you make debris. Commercial break. Boom. Let's go. Yes, San Andrea. Woo! Commercial break.
So this person says, at 24 years old, I was told that I would have to take medication for the rest of my life. And Divine Design provided a natural solution. Thanks to Dr. Brett and the staff at Divine Design, I began feeling noticeably better within weeks and was off medication without any of my previous symptoms and actually felt better than I felt before I got sick. And this person was only 24 years old and told she was going to have to be on medication for the rest of her life.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, thank you. 24 years old, told she was going to be on medication for the rest of her life. Do you know anyone like that? Nobody? Me. Oh, half the room. Okay. All right, so moving on. Next, we'll get to the slide here. I want to just show you what we're dealing with here. So, I had one patient. Well, let me just say this. I know some pharmacists and some pharmacy techs and some, dentists and nurse practitioners and PAs, and we've got patients, all of those professions. RNs, tons of RNs. I think 2 or 3 of you in this room are RNs or therapists of some sort. So It's interesting because one pharmacist can handle 700 prescriptions in one day at one pharmacy. One pharmacy, one pharmacist. Does that tell you what we're up against here? This is the American College of Cardiology. I'm just going to read through some of these points. I want you to get these points. These are very important. This is the American College of Cardiology. Okay? The AHA, the American Heart Association, 2019, Heart Disease and Stroke Statistics. These are hot off the presses. I will read. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death in the United States, responsible for almost 850,000 deaths in 2016. Okay? It's 1 million people. From 2006 to 2016, the U.S. death rate from cardiovascular disease decreased by 18.6% and from coronary heart disease by 31.8%. I don't know if I believe that. However, they're probably listing drugs as the reason. The annual cost of CVD in the United States was estimated at $351 billion. Number 3, approximately every 40 seconds, an American will have a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack. Every 40 seconds. Do you know why we're doing this class today? Because we heart you. An American will have a myocardial infarction. The average age of first myocardial infarction is 65 for men, 72 for women. Hey ladies, you remember what I was talking about 2 weeks ago, last week? When I said, guys, pull your finger out and let's get to work. The women, you see those last 7 years, ladies? What are you doing? Who are you taking care of for those last 7 years? Well, not him, because he's dead. Unless he's younger, or unless he's, unless he didn't croak in a pile before you, right? In the United States in 2019, coronary events are expected to occur 1 million times. How do they project that? Because they know what's causing it, and then they know at the current rate, and then you can project the statistics from there. Including 720,000 new and 335,000 recurrent. That means somebody goes into the hospital. Recurrent means they do it again later on. The stent person I just told you about that broke a clot through an artery, right? Through a clot into an artery. Let's go down to number 7. Every 40 seconds on average, an American will have a stroke. So you got every 40 seconds. So you got 20 seconds, this guy's dropping dead from a heart attack. 20 seconds later, this dude's dying of a stroke. 20 seconds, heart attack, 20 seconds, stroke. You see, but what country do we live in? Do we have crap healthcare here, or do we have technologically advanced, very expensive healthcare here?
Yeah,
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Every 40 seconds, had got a stroke. About another 1 million Americans will have a recurrent stroke annually. How many of you know people who've had second, third, and fourth strokes? Yeah, 9 lives, people. 9 lives. About 90% of stroke risk is due to modifiable risk behaviors. Do you remember a month ago when we did the Healthline 2020, we took apart the World Health Organization's top 10 global threats. Does anybody remember that? Yeah. What was 70% of people die from lifestyle factors? Heart disease, cancer, diabetes. So 70% here, they're saying, this is ridiculous. Do you get this? Or 90% of stroke risk is due to modifiable risk factors. 74% is due to behavioral risk factors. I don't know what that means, but 90% is the big number. Does that make sense? Then now down to number 8 right here. 5.5 million Americans have atrial fib. What does that mean? It's a nutritional deficiency. We'll get into that. All right. That's 5.5 million Americans. You know how many people are on drugs for that? 5.5 million Americans. In 2014, atrial fib, or flutter, was the principal diagnosis in 450,000 U.S. hospitalizations. You know how much our healthcare? You guys are paying for that. You know that, right? Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, Humana. Oh, yeah, your premiums. You guys are all paying for this. Then we could read through the whole thing, but we're not. I just want to point out this, the audacity. Number 13 and number 14. Scroll down to the bottom here. U.S. estimated procedural volume and 2014, 6 years ago, mean hospital charges. So if you get a cardiac cath, you got 1 million of them in 2014 for 58 grand for getting a cath in your heart. Interesting, huh? Then you got percutaneous coronary intervention. That's an inpatient procedure. You got 500,000 people there, 84 grand. Let's just get down to the pacemaker. You got 350,000 of them in 2014. You think we got more now or less? More. 2014 for a pacemaker, 84 grand for a pacemaker. Oh, and by the way, now they equip them with Bluetooth so they can shut your heart off from a satellite. I learned that from my dad. They never told him. Never told us it's going to be a Bluetooth pacemaker. Perfect. 350,000 people per year at 84 grand. Keep going. Implantable defib, 60,000 of them, 170 grand. This is the American College of Cardiology. I was surprised to see these numbers and the dollar amounts here. Coronary artery bypass grafting, 371,000 for $168. And then you get a heart transplant. You got 3,000 of them in 2017. How much is a heart transplant?
Almost $1 million.
800 grand. And these are averages. These are medians, remember. This median means it's a lot smaller than average. Make sense? Right here. Most recent data regarding CVD. We don't get into that. We don't have time for that. Let's go on to the next slide here. The cardiovascular diseases affect nearly half of all Americans, statistics show. This is American Heart Association news. I'm not a big fan because half of it's crap. However, they do. Here, you can't avoid this. Scroll down, let's just read. Nearly half of all U.S. adults have some type of CVD, a percentage that reflects recently updated guidelines for treating high blood pressure according to a new report. Notice the first thing they say, high blood pressure, right? What if blood pressure has nothing to do with your heart? Oh, you ain't ready. You're going to take, the only pill we recommend people taking is that little red one. Because this is, what if your blood pressure had nothing to do with your heart? Think about it. High blood pressure, also known as hypertension, can lead to heart attack, heart failure, and stroke, right? Remember that. Let's scroll down. We're becoming more and more, blah, blah, blah. The rise in CVD is driven in part by changes in the way high blood pressure is defined. Yeah, I see the eyebrows. Huh? What are you talking about? Yeah, they say it right here. In November, the AHA and the American College of Cardiology, the prestigious institution that we just looked at, the stuff there, that's obviously changing healthcare in the United States by those numbers, right? Is anybody getting better? Very few, outside of, car accidents and things like that. Updated the definition of high blood pressure as a reading of 130 over 80 instead of 140 over 90. Notice, 140 over 90. What's going to happen when you drop the blood pressure ratings? Are the drugs prescribed, the numbers of drugs prescribed, going to go up? Or are they going to go up? They're going to go where? Are they ever going to go down? No. Funny, huh? We've made real progress, but I think it's important that we don't do a victory lap. We still have to make sure all Americans have what? Access to quality care, right? And we have to continue to focus on life's simple 7, referring to the AHA's 7 goals of eating a healthy diet. Do they ever define what a healthy diet is? Why are the heart centers for excellence and why are the cardiac units? What do they have there? They have McDonald's, Starbucks, and vending machines. Okay? Exercising regularly, avoiding excess weight. Well, how do you do that? You stay away from the Starbucks and the McDonald's and the vending machines. Not smoking and keeping blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar within a healthy range. Does that make any sense to any of you? Because these things here, blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar, we have drugs for. The others we don't. Make sense? Boom, boom, boom. Moving on. So the point is this. This is happening, all of these numbers, all of these stats is happening despite drugs, surgeries, injectants, imaging, procedures, and all the rapidly advancing methods of modern healthcare. Major types of heart disease. Let's get into this. I'm just going to write these out. What are the major types? What are the major types of heart disease you guys hear about? Anybody? Anybody? I'm just going to list 7 of them because you all know these. We're going to talk about all of them briefly. This is a big one. CHF, congestive heart failure, yes? Sclerosis. Oh, yeah. And we'll just go quickly through. Oh, yeah. We'll say arrhythmias. And then the last one, the ever-present AFib. So everything that we had on the last one is right here. I just kind of combine them all, okay? CHF, congestive heart failure, real quick. Anybody know anybody with congestive heart failure? What causes a heart to congestively fail? Anybody?
Fluid?
Can be. Swelling, fluid, lungs, can be a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's mostly, that's the most common out of all these, just FYI. Most common you're going to hear about through all these is congestive heart failure. What causes it? Huh? Sort of, but anybody ever heard of beriberi? The old disease you don't hear about anymore. There's one way to fix it. B1, thiamine. That's a hard one. Next, cardiomyopathy. Keyshan's disease, it used to be called muscular dystrophy of the heart. It used to be called, you don't hear much about muscular dystrophy anymore, do you? Selenium deficiency. Boom. Selenium. So simple. These are diseases. Here, actually, right here. Remember this? Nutritional deficiencies. If you guys have been to previous classes before, I know we're showing backstage here. You're not supposed to see backstage. But you put a disease up here, whatever it is, cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, name one, depression, anxiety, put it up here. And the only things that are going to cause it are nutritional deficiencies and organ dysfunction. It's a very simple concept. That problem right there, your disease up here, and then you've got nutritional deficiencies right here, and organ dysfunction. What does that mean? Well, if you have a nutritional deficiency, it's going to cause an organ dysfunction. And if you have an organ dysfunction, it's going to cause a nutritional deficiency, resulting in the apex of that triangle being the disease. Every disease you know, and even the ones you don't, are all changeable by this thing called nutrition. Commercial break. Yay, Andrea.
All right, so this is a person who has had 2 heart attacks, 2 open heart surgeries, and bypasses, and used to have 2 to 3 times a month would have chest pain and pain down her left arm. His left arm, that would last about 17 hours on average. And for the past 3 months, he had only had 1 spell, and it only lasted about 12 hours. And that day that he did have a spell, he came in here to the office and had a foot spa and his nutrition and chiropractic appointments, and said that he was very much at ease because the pain went away very quickly. And this is someone, like I said, that had 2 heart attacks, 2 open heart surgeries, and went 2 to 3 times a month have 17-hour episodes of the chest pain and the left arm pain.
I remember those. Oh yeah. Oh, and he got unzipped twice by the time he turned 40. I believe, if I don't recall that incorrectly. Yeah, I think it was in his 30s. He had 2 heart attacks in his 30s. Yeah, came here. It's been fine ever since. The chest pain. I won't say heart pain. Chest pain. We're going to get into that. The chest pain that he was experiencing for years. We're going to get into that and how it went away within days. Next, so we're on cardiomyopathy, Keyshan's disease, muscular dystrophy, selenium. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. I will say this: don't just go to the store and buy a bunch of selenium, okay? Because it's impossible for you to have one nutritional deficiency. Why? Because minerals and vitamins all work together. So there's no way that you're just going to have a deficiency in one mineral. There's other minerals, but that happens to be the one that stops cardiomyopathy, okay? This is what happens when people, this goes by a lot of different names. I'll just tell you straight up. This just means cardio, muscle, or cardio means heart, myo means muscle, pathy means disease. So disease of the heart muscle. So this is a big, broad gamut of things. If you looked in the ICD-9 codes, cardiomyopathy would probably be thousands of codes because there's so many different kinds. However, what I'm saying about this is the kind that you hear about when somebody goes running, jogging, and they drop dead. This is what's happening with all of our athletes. They go running, they do a layup, they drop dead. Were they healthy? And you'll hear people say, well, he's perfectly healthy. He was perfectly healthy. Was he perfectly healthy? It couldn't have been. No. So if it's happening to the athletes, what do you think is happening to the couch potatoes? Because athletes die faster than the couch potatoes, at least in America. That shouldn't be the case, but the thing is, athletes are depleting their minerals and their vitamins so much faster than the couch potatoes because they're sweating and they're working metabolically. We won't get into that. But this is what's going on when somebody drops dead quickly. This is the impetus for your doctors saying, we need to put you on the heart transplant list. Remember, how much was that surgery, heart transplant? 800, just over 800K, median. So there's 1.2s and there's 600s, right? So this is the impetus for your, and by the way, $800,000 surgery, what's the mortality rate of that $800,000 surgery? 20%. So you got a 1 out of 5 chance of croaking in a pile on the table, okay? So when you look at 800 grand and the chances of croaking out, going buns up, kneeling on the operating table, What's easier, a little bit of organic food or an $800,000 surgery? Exactly. Okay, good. I'm glad we agree on that. So this right here can be severe fatigue. You go walking upstairs, you get tired, guess what? 20 years ahead of time, now's your time to get in here, rather than waiting for all the damage, like this poor soul here. When you hear that going, that's where my mind goes. My mind goes to Lord help them, because they have no idea what they're in for. I hope to God that it's just a false alarm. When you hear those sirens, in this county at least, 90% of the time it's a transfer of a drug, adverse drug reaction. It is not gunshots, and it is not car accidents. It's a transfer. Somebody's having an adverse reaction or somebody's stroking out. 90% of the time, it's a medication. It's a medication. That's what your taxpayer dollars. I've got the stats on the ambulances in this county, and that's what's happening 90% of the time. It's somebody going to or from a nursing home or to and from a hospital because of an adverse drug reaction. Thanks, Medicare. Medicare. Okay. Arteriosclerosis, if they don't shut us down tonight, they're going to shut us down sometime. Arteriosclerosis, aka hardening of the arteries. You've heard this all a bunch of times, right? What causes hardening of the arteries? What have you been taught causes hardening of the arteries? Oh, you're awake though. Before you were awake, can you go grab the cholesterol myth for me, the book? I want to show that. What have we been taught your whole life causes hardening of the arteries? Cholesterol, right? So they tell you oh no, this might be real. That might be real. When you hear two sirens. So arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, clogging of the arteries, right? From usually, they tell you it's cholesterol, right? But it's fried foods, it's sugar, it's processed meats, it's margarine, stuff like that. All the stuff that we are not supposed to be eating because we cooked it in a laboratory. Right? So arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, it's, and that might be anywhere. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Sent you on a wild goose chase. We have our books spread out in all the different rooms. By the way, we've got a patient library here that hardly anybody takes advantage of. The DVDs that we have here, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of education for people, whether it's cancer, whether it's injectants, whether it's whatever. Lots of stuff. So the books and the DVDs and the CDs here, I would avail myself of if I were patients here. So just letting you know, that's a little shout out to just all the library we have here. Processed meats, the sugar. So none of this is caused by cholesterol. We know that it's a result of inflammation. Sent you on a wild goose chase, didn't I? I thought it was up front. What room's it in? Oh, geez. Right here. Why lowering your cholesterol. This is one of dozens of books. We read all these, okay? Your doctor doesn't. Okay? Why lowering your cholesterol won't prevent heart disease, and the statin-free plan that will. I would highly recommend reading this. This is a great book, The Cholesterol Myth. It's by a PhD and a medical doctor, Stephen Sinatra. Anybody heard that name? No? Big heart doctor? No relation to Frank, I don't think. But The Great Cholesterol Myth. You've been hoodwinked. It's a scam. They know it. They're hoping you don't see it. Okay? Also, there are a lot of, we won't get into that right now. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. But the arteriosclerosis, we'll leave it at that. That last testimonial was angina pectoris. He was diagnosed angina pectoris. Anybody know what angina pectoris is? Angina means what? Pain. Pectoris means what? Chest. So angina pectoris is what? That's the official diagnosis. The guy shows up to the doctor and says, I have chest pain. The doctor says, you have angina pectoris. Oh, okay. You work for an insurance company. You know, that's a diagnosis. Okay, but what's causing the angina pectoris? The chest pain is having chest pain, but what's causing the chest pain to have chest pain? The angina pectoris. You want to know? Check this out. Well, the heart's a muscle. If you have a muscle, this is so basic. This is so easy. When I learned this, I thought, oh my God, this would shut down cardiac units. This would blow everything away. So when you have a muscle cramp or a muscle spasm, why are you having that? You're lacking something. You're lacking vitamins or minerals, right? Right? So your heart's a muscle. So when you have chest pain, what is your heart doing? We're lacking a nutrient. So can you fix it overnight? About 90% of the time. Because people are missing certain things in their diets because they don't eat them anymore. That's where I was going, the rabbit trail earlier. The class that we had last week was all about what we're not eating anymore. It was what's in those supplements. I would highly encourage, if you were not here, if you did not watch that, to go back and look. I heard so much good feedback on that class because people, even though we gave them handouts and stuff on real supplements, and the paperwork on day one is like, this is food, it's plants and animals, I think a lot of people, it went over their heads. And so I had a lot of people that said, wow, that's really great to know what's in some of those supplements. We used to give catalogs. They quit printing them, so we do have a small number of them left. If anybody here is a patient, you want one, let us know. But I would highly recommend looking into your supplements, at least reading the bottle and seeing what's in those things, because it really blew a lot of people's minds that what was in them and the results that we got. Angina pectoris. It's an arterial insufficiency resulting in decreased oxygen. That's a fancy way of saying cramp. It's a fancy way of saying spasm. Okay. Allopathic approach is you do remember the coronary, oh, I forgot we did this. Well, that was kind of silly. Thank you. I forgot all about that. Angina pectoris. Can we erase this? So it's not shining off yeah, I forgot we had this. Yeah. I told Diamond at the last minute, hey, just make a list of these 6 things. I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. Angina pectoris. So the coronary bypass surgery, remember when we looked at the coronary bypass surgery? It was, I think, 150 grand, 158. Is that the right one? They did what? A couple 100,000 of them per year, right? And after 20 years of studies, by the way, I have so many studies, I have so many books on all this stuff. Can you grab the drug-induced nutrient deficiencies? It's a big textbook on the front table out there. After 20 years of studies, they've failed to prevent second heart attacks or to extend life. All of these coronary bypass surgeries. Angina results from a nutritional deficiency, usually, now don't run out and get calcium and magnesium, but blah, 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 because they come in certain ratios, and essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are another way of saying what? Fish oils, right? You want to know what your statin drugs are doing? I got the book for you. You want to know what your hypertension drugs are doing? I got the book for you. You want to know what your diuretic books are doing? Written by pharmacists? Textbook for medical school. Drug-induced what?
Diseases.
They know. It's written by pharmacists for pharmacists. It's a whole textbook on drug-induced diseases. I forgot I had this. I just remembered. Also, an advertisement from a magazine long ago. They probably killed this one. Crestor. What's Crestor for? Cholesterol, but really, what are we told it's for? We heart you, right? So what's it for? It's a cholesterol drug. It's a statin drug for what? Heart health, right? It's an old magazine. I'm going to read it to you. I know you can't see this, but it says right here. Crestor. So you read all the crap here. Working with your doctor is key to help you reach your cholesterol goal. How many of you have a cholesterol goal? You never had a cholesterol goal until your doctor and the TV told you what to make it. Crestor may be the difference you need. In fact, the 10 milligram dose of Crestor, along with diet, see how they throw that in there, can lower bad cholesterol as much as 52%. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But then you go over here to the part I highlighted. So funny. Let me read this. If your doctor says lower is better, aim lower with Crestor, right? Commercial break coming up. Right here. This is money right here. You get this. This is the advertisement for Crestor in a major pharmaceutical, in a prescription in a medical journal. Oh, and I've seen these in like Reader's Digest. Who reads Reader's Digest? I've seen it in AARP. Who reads AARP? It ain't in Fish and Stream, folks. It's not in Sports Illustrated. I'm going to read it to you right here. Crestor is prescribed along with diet. They said it again. But how many doctors prescribe diets? Exactly. For lowering high cholesterol and has not been determined to prevent heart disease or heart attacks or strokes. Has not been determined to prevent heart disease, heart attack, or strokes. So if we're giving it to you to lower cholesterol to beat your heart disease, but it doesn't, it's in the advertisement. That's how stupid they think we are. Or I'll say it this way. This is how stupid they think we are. You think I'm kidding, but I wish I was kidding. You can't make this stuff up, I'm telling you, okay?
Big incomes.
Yep. Arrhythmias. What's another way of describing an arrhythmia? What does it mean? It means rhythm without. So it means without rhythm. So arrhythmia is just an irregular heartbeat. What's probably the biggest thing that would cause an irregular heartbeat? What happens when you drink hot sauce? Or what would happen if you took a shot of Drano? Or what would happen if you put something that was toxic into your face? Your body would fight it. Would it raise your heart rate or lower your heart rate? Would it increase your blood pressure or decrease your blood pressure? If you did something toxic 3 times per day for, let's say, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, I'm not trying to paint a picture or anything. Would that increase your blood pressure or decrease your blood pressure? So if we changed your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and took away the offending substances, would your blood pressure then return to normal? Would your heart rate perhaps return to normal? I think it's a good bet, right? So people call ambulances thinking that they're having a heart attack, okay, due to the palpitations and the arrhythmias and stuff like that. And then the ambulance arrives, their symptoms go away. What's the usual case? What is the usual culprit for this? You're going to love this. Medicine says the usual culprit, Chinese restaurant syndrome, MSG. Yeah. I wonder how many ambulances roll by like those sirens just now. How many ambulances roll by here, somebody thinking they had a heart attack and they just had bad chicken from, some Chinese place. I don't want to name a place. They'll come at me. But how many, they just had too much MSG. I shouldn't say bad Chinese. I'm sure it tasted great because of the MSG. That's what it is. It's a flavor enhancer, right? So the history of eating out is the probable cause to your arrhythmias. If you change your diet, you just change your heart. How do I know? You know how muscle testing was developed, how it was discovered? Royal Lee, the founder of Standard Process, another reason why I mentioned the class that we had last week. Royal Lee created the world's most nutrient-dense supplements. George Goodhart was a chiropractor in the 50s and 60s. But Royal Lee, they'd met each other. And Royal Lee also developed a precursor to the EKG, the echocardiogram. It's a precursor to what is now. He basically developed these microphones that could hear each chamber of the heart from just placing a band around. It was phenomenal technology for the time. He was a prophet. He was way ahead of his time. So he developed this thing called a heart sound recorder. Some practices use them. I do not. But that became what's now the EKG or the ECG, the electrocardiogram. George Goodhart found that by putting supplements, by muscle testing, by putting supplements in someone's mouth, the strength of their arm would change. Why would that be? Now we don't put stuff in your mouth, we put it in your hand, or we put it on your body, or we do it various other ways. But he discovered that putting it in someone's mouth, why would it change your muscle response? What is it affecting when you put it in your mouth? Think about it. It's so simple. It's so easy. And when you get this, you'll understand how this works, how muscle testing works. We're not going to get into nutrition response testing, all that stuff tonight. We're not going to do the demonstration. If we stick around for the class or for the tour, we will. Here's how it works. When it touches your taste buds, is that instant biochemical electrical response through your taste buds to your brain and the rest of your muscles of your body? Or does it take 5 hours? It's immediate. It's your taste buds. What do they do? Wait a minute. How do they fix heart attacks with what do they do in your tongue? Nitroglycerin. Aha. Interesting. Isn't that interesting? So when you use nutrition, particularly, they would used to chew it up so that it would hit your taste buds and cause an instant biochemical reaction throughout the entire human body. Will it affect your heart then? Your heart is instantly affected, right? If you took a shot of Drano, would your heart react?
I think so.
Right. So think about it. When you test these things, it's an instant biochemical reaction. How many of you have been here and we test you for one supplement and your body creates a strong response? We test you for another supplement and instantaneously your body creates a weaker response. Yeah, you've been here. You've seen it. That's how it works. That's how muscle testing was really discovered and, what's the word I'm looking for? Codified. Okay? So the culprit to this whole I'm still pointing over here. Been a long day. After all those observations I told you earlier, I'm like, oy vey, this is a day. Arrhythmias. And then AFib. If I had a nickel for every person who told me, well, I've got AFib, and If I had a nickel, I'd have a few bucks, I'm telling you. And it's AFib is one of those things that is so easily digestible in your mind to figure out and fix. It is one of these things that people think it's a lifetime diagnosis. AFib, it's just another irregular heartbeat. It's another arrhythmia, right? These are just the top 6 I'm talking about here that you hear about. But it's not a heart problem, that's a back problem. We won't even get into that. I see eyebrows hitting the ceiling. It's not a heart problem. Hypertension, which is not on this list, but I'll just read you a few things here, is not caused by salt. You've always heard that. Let me ask you this. Is salt in every cell of your body?
Yeah.
It's an essential nutrient to life. So just like telling you to stay off cholesterol and don't eat animals, telling you to not eat salt, you saw the stats of what happened. From a whole generation telling people don't eat cholesterol and don't eat salt, what were those stats saying to you? Were they saying we're getting healthier or we're getting sicker? Yep, totally. I'm going to do a little illustration here that I'll get back to. You don't have 1.2 that I want you to get is you do not have there was a girl, sweet girl, probably listening right now, and a few years ago she was 12 maybe, 11 or 12, and her mom came to a class like this at the old building, and she came up afterwards and said, is there any way that you can fix a heart valve? And I said, well, I can't, but God can. But yeah, can we help you? Yes, absolutely. Why? What's going on? Daughter, 11 or 12 at the time, scared to death to go play tennis because the doctor told her she's going to drop out of a heart attack just because she's got a heart valve problem. I said, well, give me, 9 months. She's 11, 10, 11, 12. She heals fast. Give me 9 months. Give me a year, whatever. And I told her one thing that I think rectified her whole entire existence because I said, well, she's going to have a different valve in a few years. She said, what do you mean? She's not going to have the same heart valve when she's 50 that she does right now. What do you mean? Your body replicates cells to take the place of the ones that are dying every day. Your body has to use the food you eat for those cells to replicate. If you eat crap food, you're trying to build a house with crap, with cardboard and duct tape. But if you eat good food, you're going to build a house with drywall and 2x4s. You catch what I'm saying? And she said, I just saw these gears just click with her. It just fell into place. And I said, that's not the same valve. In a year, it won't be the same valve. In 2 years, it won't be the same valve. So you're either decaying rapidly by not doing anything, or you're building. Every bite of everything you put in or on your body will either feed a disease or starve it. You either build your immune system or you kill it. That's it. I had to tell that little illustration. All of this stuff. What is the cause behind all of this? The cause that you're told. Oh, commercial break. Sorry, before we get into that. Commercial break. Yay!
Okay, so this is a person that has experienced being able to use whole food supplements instead of synthetic medications. He says, I am so pleased to be off 2 of my 4 blood pressure medications in only 6 weeks. I feel better and I'm loving the whole food supplements that are replacing the synthetic junk-filled pills.
Ooh, read another one. That was a good one. That was a short
Another
commercial
one?
break. Don't
Yeah.
you think we need maybe a minute long?
2 commercials, that's fine.
There you go, yeah.
So this is a person that was taking various medications and not seeing much relief. She had high blood pressure and high cholesterol, as well as arthritis in several different parts of her body and ringing in her ears and a hiatal hernia. And in the morning, she had some coughing and wheezing. And now she's not taking any medications, just the supplements that Dr. Spradlin has recommended. Her blood pressure and cholesterol seem to be under control. She still has a little pain in her back and neck, but the adjustments help. And she hasn't noticed any wheezing in the morning, and the hernia doesn't give her any problems. And she says, by following the diet and taking the supplements, I have lost weight and have more energy.
Yay! Imagine that.
Yep.
Imagine that. Isn't that crazy? So that being said, well, don't look too much at that yet. Don't get confused by that. Couple other points here. We're almost done. You're all told, what is the purpose behind all? What is the cause? Everything here, your doctor, your medicine, healthcare, commercials, TV, pharmaceuticals, everything says the cause of this is what? Well, there's only 2 causes in medicine that cause everything. See, we have 2 causes too. right here. Remember this? Nutritional deficiencies. Hey, if medicine didn't believe in nutritional deficiencies, you pregnant women wouldn't take prenatals. It's just, you can't be thinking about mineral deficiencies and vitamin deficiencies unless you're pregnant, right? Yeah. Everybody thinks about minerals and vitamins when they get pregnant. But how far ahead of time should you be trying to change everything? You need to start thinking about the nutrition of your kid 6 months before you get pregnant. Minimum, okay? But we have 2 causes. What's the other cause? Nutritional deficiencies, organ dysfunction, right? So classy when I show you the backstage like that, isn't it? Nutritional deficiencies, organ dysfunction. Medicine has 2 causes too. What are they? Come on. I said it a couple weeks ago. We talked about it. Kathy, what are they? This is it. It's a game changer. You ready? Genes and germs. That's it. That's it. What is the cause? Genes and germs. What do they tell you all of this stuff is? It's genetic. Correct or correct? What we do is the exact antithesis of everything you've ever heard. Medicine. I had a talk with a guy today coming on board as a patient. He says, why don't you adjust people on the first visit? So that's a wonderful question. If I adjusted you if you had 10 out of 10 back pain and I adjust you on the first visit, what are you going to expect on the second visit? Okay? If I adjust you 10 out of 10 back pain and I adjust you on the first visit and say it goes away on the first visit, what are you going to expect on the second visit? Another miraculous adjustment, right? The next time it comes back. So you have 10 out of 10 back pain, I adjust you on the first visit, it doesn't go away. What are you going to expect? You're going to think that I don't know what I'm doing, and you're going to think chiropractic doesn't work. I don't touch people for a month. Why? Because you're already inflamed, you're already in pain, you've been in pain 35 years, so what's another month? Yeah. Why don't I adjust you on the first visit? Because I'm the doctor, you're not. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that to be a jerk. What I'm saying is that's a good question. That is a good question. And then his wife says, it was interesting because she said, well, I went to a chiropractor once and he messed me up. I said, did he adjust you on the first visit? And did he do nutrition? Oh, big time, big time. See, half the time you can get rid of the back pain and everything before you even touch them just by doing what we're talking about with nutrition. Because their bodies are already so inflamed. They're so sick. From the cholesterol meds, the blood pressure crap, the blood sugar crap, eating crappy foods, they're smearing crap on them, they're going outside and breathing the crap air that we're getting sprayed on for the last, how many weeks it's been raining? Oh, we won't go there. That's a whole other topic. But, so, that was another observation today. I forgot to put that in there. That was an awesome, brave day, wasn't it? I'm telling you. So what we do, I just told him though, I said what we do, that's why it's so safe. That's why it's so effective. That's why it's so affordable. Because we're not just going to go do what everybody else is doing. Because we see the stats and the statistics from the drugs and the injectants and the surgeries and stuff. We're not just going to do what your normal doctors and chiropractors would do. So that's why. Therefore, this is unlike anything in the medical field. Here's the last little nugget, and then I'll go through this. The heart eats first. Always remember that. Now, the heart eats first. This is how important nutrition is. If you are in this room and I already talked to you about this, stay quiet. What is one organ in the body that you will never, hardly ever, you will never, in your realms of work, what is one organ in the body that will never have cancer? Say it out loud. Say it out louder.
The heart. Why is that? Oh, because it gets all the nutrition?
I just said, the heart eats first. How many of your cardiologists know that? Here's something else your cardiologist doesn't know. You know what? Yeah, I wasn't going to cover this, but yeah, this is fun. You guys need to know this. And then we'll do a couple testimonials. The heart is not separate ventricles. It's a rope. It's a band. It looks like this. It's an alpha helix. It's wrapped. It's amazing. It looks like this. I know this is crap. Here's the aorta. But if you were to look at the heart like this, it starts here and unwraps. It's a muscle that's a toroid right here. It's a spiral. It's a tornado. It's a Fibonacci. It's a seashell. It's an unrolling, it's a daisy. It's like this. It's a spiral unfolding in on itself. It's not separate chambers. Yeah, I know. The guy who figured this out in the 70s, he was a cardiologist. He went to deliver this. He finally got his work recognized. He was an anatomist. He was a cardiologist, and he was an anatomist. And he took a look at the heart, and he discovered this stuff. And his colleagues finally noticed. He was a Spanish medical doctor back in the 70s. And he went to present his findings, got a standing ovation from all these cardiologists. His life's work. He goes home, or goes back to the hotel, drops dead of a heart attack. Horrible. But we're taught active pumping on contraction and passive filling on relaxation. The systole is the pumping and the diastole is the relaxation. What if it was a toroid spring going like this with a piston, only the piston is staying stationary and the muscles are flexing around the piston? Totally backwards of your anatomy books. 100% opposite of what I learned. I was going to show you all kinds of pictures of the Body Worlds exhibits. Have you guys ever been to the Body Worlds exhibits? It'll change your life. Change your life. One of the baddest things you'll ever see. It's people who've donated their bodies to science and things. And you'll see the way that the Dutch, he was Dutch, the anatomist, figured out a way to preserve the bodies so that you can have an entire horse dissectioned out with a rider on top of it with all the muscles splayed out so you can see like every movement. I mean, it's a work of art. And there's whole entire cabinets of just a body laying there, and all it is the blood vessels. And you see the shape of the body. You can actually tell what the person looked like from the shape of their face, from just the shape of their blood vessels. The meticulous attention to detail of the anatomists, of the people who dissected the bodies, to put all this together and to find a way. They plasticize it somehow. I remember I saw this when I was in Europe, and I saw it once in Denver. And it was the whole exhibit was just these awesome, crazy, unbelievable anatomical exhibits of human anatomy. So if you laid out a small child, if you laid out all of the blood vessels to like a small child, they'd stretch 60,000 miles. And when you look at a body laying there, and you're looking at all these blood vessels, they just on top of each other. It is the most unbelievable thing. Body Worlds exhibits. You should check it out. But the heart is helical, and it functions like a toroid. If you don't know what a toroid is, just think of a tornado. It's one long band that contracts in a spiral. It's called the myocardial ventricular band. From the root of the pulmonary artery, so right here, around to the aorta, so right here. So it wraps in a circle, and it wraps in a spiral around itself. Think about biblical ramifications of this. Okay? Because did this happen by random chance, evolution, lightning hitting a mud puddle? Or did it happen by a skilled craftsman, a creator, right? A potter and here at the potter's wheel. I mean, you look at this and it's like, wow, no wonder they don't tell us this. This would destroy a whole lot of theories, wouldn't it? Yeah, sure would. Single muscular band. It twists and loops like a rope into a helical structure, forming the left and right cavities of the ventricles. Then you got another little helical structure that goes something like this, which would really look like this. What does that look like? DNA. Yep. That's all we're going to go into on that. But the heart follows a pattern like seashells, daisies, ram's horns. You ever seen a shofar? Yeah, interesting, huh? So anyway, this right here, last little thing I want to share with you. Oh, and by the way, y'all ought to pick up one of these. I really like this. There's some of this that's very, 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 very good. These Health Alert newsletters. I don't advertise for other people, but this guy's the whip. Actually, we'll do this. Commercial break. Sorry. You got to remind me. Sorry.
All right. So I have two really short ones. This person said, I have had blood pressure and weight issues that have been hard to control. My diet has improved with a greater focus on raw vegetables. My energy and immune system have stepped up, and I am showing improvement in blood pressure and weight. And the second person says, after 3 weeks of coming to Divine Design, my blood pressure has lowered to where I've reduced my medications. Thank you, Divine Design. So it's pretty amazing what a little bit of nutritional overhaul
Yeah, 3 weeks.
can do
and
for
I
you.
think they've
Yep.
probably been on drugs for 20 years or something. That's the average. You know, people come in, they're missing 6 organs, they're on 12 meds, and they've been there for 20 years, and they're still sick, but they've got great insurance. I don't really advertise for a whole lot of people, but this guy, Bruce West, I really like Bruce West because I've followed him for a long time. He's got this newsletter called Health Alert, right? He's a chiropractor. I know. But he's got about 30 or 40 medical doctors on his advisory board. It's really something you should check out. These are on the front table or counter, I'm not sure. But he always puts out some good stuff. The reason why I like him, he's a protocol guy. He goes by, take 6 of these each day and take 2 of those each day. So it might be a little more pricey, but he puts out like protocols, like here's your cold stuff and your flu stuff and blah, blah, blah. What I like about him is he's been in practice for like 40 years, and he uses standard process. So if you wanted to pick one of these up, we have a few of them up front. But this would at least help some of you, or I tell people, if you have older parents, or for my older patients, this guy's been in practice 40 years. He knows what he's talking about. And if you have any older parents or you know, certainly some older patients should get this and read it, and they'd be hearing the same stuff that we're talking about here, just from kind of more of a protocol mindset. More of like, here you got a cold, here, take this. Oh, you have back pain, here, take this. That's more of kind of a protocol mindset. Here, though, we're way ahead of the curve because that back pain may not be back pain. That back pain may be uterus, it might be kidney, and half the back pain I see isn't back pain. And we just told you which one of those was the atrial, not the atrial fib. Yeah, arrhythmias. Arrhythmias, palpitations, yes. 9 times out of 10, it's back pain. Or it's back related. You may not even feel pain. All right. So this thing here, you guys need to know this. This is huge. This is huge. This is huge. By the way, how many of you like that State of the Union?
Yeah.
State of the Union, yes? Tearjerker. This half of the country loves the country. This half of the country hates the country. Never see anything like it. Never see anything like it. All right. So here, the cholesterol, LDLs, and HDLs, okay? The LDLs, you've been told they're the bad cholesterol. You've been told HDL is the good cholesterol, right or right? It's not cholesterol at all. It's not cholesterol. High density lipoprotein. What is a high density lipoprotein? It's a protein. It carries cholesterol, but it's not cholesterol. Does that make sense? This ships it out from the liver. This brings it back in. And cholesterol, of course, you all know. Cholesterol is from what you eat, right? Incorrect. Cholesterol is a result of inflammation, right? So in a healthy person, cholesterol, every cell in your body has to have cholesterol. The cell wall, to be permeable and to be able to wedge through things, your cells have to be not permeable, malleable. So it'll all have permeable too. Stuff has to get through. It's that lipid bilayer, that phospholipid bilayer that we've all heard about in anatomy and physiology. But every cell in your body has to have cholesterol in the cell wall or you die. When you have a muscle tear or people on statin drugs, what's the biggest complaint of people on statin drugs besides Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all? Pain, muscle pain. Why? Because now you don't have in textbook. Somebody comes in with statin drug, I know they got muscle pain every time. So textbook, when you don't have cholesterol in your cell walls and you go walking, what's happening to your muscle cells? Are they ripping or are they ripping? They're ripping. So are you going to have muscle pain? Yes. So in a healthy person, cholesterol is low because you don't have a lot of cellular breakdown. Now, take that one step further. If somebody goes and gets their blood checked, they just worked out, they were in the Anytime Fitness, squatting 500 pounds 20 times the day before. Is their cholesterol going to be high? Yes, because you're tearing muscle cells and your liver is making more cholesterol to replace the damaged cells. Does that make sense? In a healthy person, cholesterol should be low. But if you have damage from working out, or if you have damage from inflammation, or if you have damage from taking a bunch of drugs, or if you have damage from eating a bunch of food that's killing you, is your inflammation going to be up? Then is your cholesterol going to be up? Yeah, so you just saw the blood panel of a sick person right there. See how it changes? However, let's stay on the healthy person. When the liver makes all of your cholesterol, okay? So when your body needs it to go to those broken down leg muscles, right? It's going to ship out a bunch of cholesterol. Well, in a healthy person, you don't have a bunch of cellular breakdown, so it's not shipping a whole lot of stuff out. But the liver is drawing back the HDLs for its own use. So the HDLs are higher. Does that make sense? Now, sick person, exact opposite. Sick person, you got a lot of cellular breakdown, so the inflammation goes up because the cholesterol is being made in the liver in order to fix the cells, right? You've got to make more cholesterol because you got cellular breakdown because you got inflammation, which is the real cause of heart disease, not cholesterol. Everybody tracking with us? Then your body is screaming out in the peripheral tissues. The LDLs send stuff. The LDLs carry the cholesterol to the peripheral tissues, like legs and arms. So those are higher because your body's cells are breaking down and your liver is shipping stuff out. Well, nothing's coming back because it's all being used in the peripheral tissue, so your HDLs are low. So your blood panel of a sick person is going to be the exact opposite of a healthy person. Does that make sense? You want to see what a statin drug does? Oh, this is fun. Well, you're taking a cholesterol med. When somebody's on a statin drug, statin means stop. So statin in Latin means stop. That means you're stopping cholesterol. So you're lowering cholesterol in your body. How does it do that? It destroys your liver. Because what makes the cholesterol? Your liver. So cholesterol back in the day, regular cholesterol was 300-400, and then we found a drug to lower it. The Framingham study. Anybody heard of that? Framingham study. They never told you about that because that would have completely eliminated the statin industry before it ever started. So a statin drug kills the liver, the enzymes in the liver, CoQ10. Now there's a new insurance code for statin-induced CoQ10 deficiency. Statin-induced, CoQ10 deficiency. Statin-induced CoQ10 deficiency, right there, caused by statins. It says it right in the name, statin-induced. Okay. So in a statin-taking person, once again, this is a healthy person, this is a sick person, this is somebody taking statins. So in someone taking statins, your liver is being destroyed, so there is no cholesterol being made. You get where I'm going with this already? Okay. In a statin-taking person, due to that liver damage, what do you think the liver is going to do? If the liver is being killed, is it going to ship anything out? So your LDLs go down. See where I'm going with this? And then, since there's liver damage, is it drawing a lot of stuff back to fix itself? It's trying to. So what have we done here? What do you notice about all these arrows? There's two of them that look exactly the same. Two people out of the three that look exactly the same. Who said that? What did you say? The statin person looks healthy. On paper, because you've chemically manipulated the blood lab to look like a perfect lipid profile of a healthy person while still being sick as a dog. You have chemically manipulated, using pharmacia, everything in their blood lab to make them look good on paper. But, yeah, your blood's perfectly normal. But I don't feel good. Well, your blood, everything on paper looks good. But I don't feel good. But, ma'am, everything on your blood, they'll even write perfect at the bottom of it and hand it to you to take home. Everything on your blood panels, but I don't feel good. Well, it must all be in your... That's what we're doing. These people are evil. They work for the dark side. They know that. Do you think they don't know the chemistry behind this stuff? Some people know it, some people don't. Commercial break. And then we'll be done here in just a minute.
All right. So this person says that after only 6 months of care with Divine Design, the blood work I had done in my OBGYN showed that my liver is the best it's been in years. My plaque buildup dropped 14 points. My cholesterol has improved, and my thyroid is the best it's been since my last check in 2009. I also have lost 38 pounds. I have more energy. I sleep well, and I wake up rested, and I am off nearly all medications. So another person
There you go.
choosing to cut down their medications because they don't need it.
Cutting down, yeah. And you know what? I'll just say it in front of the whole world. I don't take people off medications. We just get them so healthy that they can't legally be on them anymore. Because I don't take people off meds. They'd come and shut me down tomorrow, but I don't do that. We get you so healthy, we teach you so adequately that you do not, and they cannot legally keep you on the poisons because guess what? You're not on these, so when your blood panel looks like this, like right there, she said, all of my points have improved. What did we do? No drugs. What else did we not do? Surgery. What else did we not do? X-rays and CAT scans and MRIs. So we just get you so healthy using simple logic and simple stuff like what we're talking about. And guess what? It's all biblical. So I hope you like that. If not, you will one day. But I promise you, all of this stuff is affordable, safe, effective, and it cannot hurt you. Can your other doctors make you those promises? Not at all. A couple things too. These right here, after statins were introduced about 40 years ago. By the way, my mom was on the first statin drug. It was a powder that went into your drink, and it was chock full of aspartame, artificial sweeteners. Back in the day, it was called Cholestid, if I remember right, or Cholestade, something like that. You can look it up. It was a powdered drink, the first cholesterol drug. When they finally figured out we've got a drug that will crush cholesterol, now we have to figure out how to. Now we have to make cholesterol the enemy. So did sugar become the enemy or did fat become the enemy? Fat. So we've got a whole entire generation on statin drugs. And you saw from the numbers, are they getting healthier or are they getting sicker? That's their own numbers, American Cardiology, College of Cardiology. So we've got a whole entire generation on cholesterol-lowering drugs. What neurological disorders have approached epidemic proportions for elderly people in the last 40 years? Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and diabetes are all through the roof, all intimately linked to this. Because if you know somebody that has this or this or this, I will bet you dollars to Dunkin' Donuts that they were on a statin drug and or a hypertension drug, or 2 or 3 of each. And you know from Crestor, the thing I just showed, Crestor has not been, does not stop heart disease. Y'all remember that, right? So all the diabetes stuff, the Parkinson's, the Alzheimer's, all intimately linked to statin use. What else, ladies? Infertility. And what else, guys? Erectile dysfunction. So when you put a whole generation of people on a low-fat diet, get them on margarine instead of butter, make them scared of fat instead of sugar, and you put them on a statin drug on top of that, you're going to make them stupid, you're going to make them so they can't move, and you're going to make them so they can't breed. Whose job description is that? Hello. By the way, the coronavirus has snake DNA in it. Oh no. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No,
Who would do that? Coronavirus is full of snake DNA. The scientists are finally figuring it out. Who puts snake DNA in a virus? A lab.
snake in the garden.
A lab. A snake in the garden. There you go. All right. That's about it. So I think we're about done. Any questions, comments, concerns? Oh, and we're going to do a sign-off, yeah. Yeah, we got some winners. All right, we're signing off. Facebook, thank you guys. Hey, next, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, we have this guy. Biblical first aid. If you like the Bible, great. If you don't like the Bible, great. Show up. You'll like it. I promise. I'll talk you into it. Biblical first aid, essential oils. We're going to tell you why. That's the other rabbit trail I was going on earlier. We're going to tell you why essential oils are taking over and why the pharmaceutical companies are very afraid of essential oils and why they're trying their best to pollute the industry and adulterate everything so that you do not know the difference between Equate at Walmart and Standard Process at your chiropractor. It's the same thing that's going on, like we talked about in the class last week. The difference between synthetic crap made by a laboratory and God's stuff from a field, you'll know the difference, and your dog will too. So we're going to go through some basic. I encourage everybody. biblical essential oils. Next week, or 2 weeks from now, 24th, we're going to go through some very basic stuff at the beginning, and then we're going to get into some heavy duty stuff. It's going to be great, I promise. So thank you. Signing off to Facebook. Everybody give Facebook or social media a big round. Yeah! Woo! Yee! All right. Any questions, comments, concerns? Cries of outrage. Anybody?